Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Noelle and I review and unbox subscription boxes here on my channel, and today I have a book subscription to share with all of you. It is not sent to me for review. As many of you know, I am a subscriber. I get the adult selection from Once Upon a Book Club. I appreciate it because this book subscription has been around for a long time. They allow you to skip. They get really good titles from really popular authors, and they do try to really create a special experience in terms of having gifts bring the pages to life. So this is what the box looks like. Different color for the young adult box. I think that one is green, and then sometimes they'll do a middle grader box. That's not every month, I don't think, anymore. They also do a lot of limited edition boxes. I know that I got the summer thriller box. Occasionally they will send me PR, but often I've already received the box once it is offered as a free box for reviewers, but I am lucky enough to be on that, so I thank them for letting me be on that mailing list as well. This box is $59.99 per month. That does include the shipping, and it also includes, of course, the book that is selected for that month. They give you hints. You can actually find out the title if you want to ahead of time, or you can have it be a little bit of a surprise. They do allow you to skip, which I appreciate, because every once in a while there'll be like a romance, or I might just really be busy and don't want to add to my TBR pile of boxes. So sometimes I will skip, but they make that very, very easy to do, which I appreciate. And you're always going to get the book, 3 or 4 gifts inside, as well as a reading guide that usually has an interview with the author, a quote card, a bookmark, and they also have a little collectible sticker these days. So I do have a link and a code for you. The code is now HiNoel10. I had a different one a long time ago, and that will save you 10% on your purchase, but you can also just use the link below. That's super easy to do as well. So let's go ahead and open it up. Inside it's all purple and scripty. They don't usually have a lot of packing materials inside, but usually there's kind of a swag bag which comes with the guide like I was talking about. This box was called Book Club Unites, but the actual title is the Busybody Book Club by Freya Sampson. We got a paperback this time around. And then inside of the guide there is, like I said, usually a conversation with the author. They will have a QR code for the Facebook group. They have some discussion questions if you want to actually run it like a Facebook like a book club. We have used Once Upon a Book Club books for our book club that we run through our Facebook group. That's why I got a little confused. But we kind of jump around from different boxes that I open here on the channel. We already have our boxes selected for the remainder of the year. We're actually doing a little extra one with the Summer Thrills box from Once Upon a Book Club. Then we are doing Emma from the Literary Book Club, and then we were probably going to do a Wordy Traveler title for Q4. So if you're interested in joining our little book club that we run through this channel, by all means, you can join the Facebook group and then find out more that way. Then on the back of the guide, they do usually have like a recipe or like a crossword puzzle or something that goes along with the theme of the book. In this case, we have Yorkshire puddings, which to me look like popovers. But of course, this does take place in the UK. So that's, I guess, why we had that. I don't recall having there be a lot of Yorkshire pudding in there, but fun little recipe to have. I know a lot of us like to cook and get creative with our cocktails and what nibbles we have when we are doing readings. So there's lots of like recipe books based on different novels. So here is the book, and then we have our gifts. Now this time around, in the swag bag, I should have mentioned, here is that exclusive sticker, and they do have different items in their shop that you can display your stickers on. Here is a signed book plate. That's awesome. We got Freya's signature. And then we have the quote card and the bookmark, and they usually have the same quote on them. This time it is, "I knew that however different we were, we could have books in common," which is great for a book club, of course. We have actually used a book club themed book for our book club once before. This would have actually been a great one because it was a combo of kind of contemporary, lighthearted, sweet fiction and a mystery. So this would have been a great selection for a book club. And then on the back, we do have a letter from the author, which sometimes I have a chance to read and sometimes I don't necessarily, because I want to read the passages to you and show you all of the gifts and my thoughts about the curation of the box. So we'll see if we get around to it this time. But this is what the gifts look like. We had page number 3, so you can see they actually printed wrapping paper with that page number on there for us. We had page number 15, which this is kind of fun. We have like different profiles of different people. Then we have page number 72. This is this one. This is also wrapped, no printed. Well, I guess this is a printed box this time. Sometimes we get nice hard gift boxes. And then page 177, which I was a little worried when I saw this one because I tend to not like the paper gifts, which can be like drawings or paintings or just different prints, because they're not usually things that I will use in my daily life. And sometimes I forgive it if it's like goes really, really well with the book. But in this case, this was a little bit of a disappointment for me for the last gift of the book. So we had ones on 3, 15, 72, and 177. So pretty spread out, kind of a lot there in the beginning. We actually had one of their fun QR codes. So the gift on page 15 and then a QR code on page 16, which just a lot of times is just to a Spotify playlist or song that is mentioned in the book. So that was the case this time around. So forgive me ahead of time if I don't mention that, but that is one of the little add-along things that they do, which I do like, that they try to incorporate all of the senses in these curations. So let me read the blurb on the back to you, and then we'll get into the passages. Like I said, it is a mystery. I don't think any of the passages or the gifts will give it away who done it, but overall I will say that this was not one of my favorite curations by Once Upon a Book Club because of the quality of the gifts and how well I think that they were interpreted from the page, but also I will say that I enjoyed the book and I do think it was a sweet book and definitely worth a read. So it says, having recently moved from London to a small Cornish seaside village, Nova Davies started a book club at the community centre to bring the locals together. But so far, it's a disaster. The 5 members disagree on everything. To make matters worse, a significant sum of money is stolen during one of the meetings, putting the much-loved community centre at risk. Suspicion for the theft falls on book club member Michael, especially when he disappears and a dead body turns up at his house. But the other members have their own theories. Agatha Christie superfan Phyllis is determined to prove that Michael's been framed. Romance reader Arthur believes there's a mystery woman involved. And teenage sci-fi fan Ash thinks dark forces are at play. While trying to locate Michael, solve the murder, and recover the stolen money, they all have their own secrets to protect. Despite the danger closing in, they won't rest until they've cracked the case and gotten everyone safe at home with a book where they belong. So that's kind of how you learn how they came up with the name of the book club. That's kind of the epilogue. So I do think it says in her letter that I did skim that she was trying, in the discussion with the author, she did say that it was like most challenging to write about Nova, who's the one who's kind of like leading the book club, just because it would be really easy. She's very insecure in some ways, and so she was like, it would be really easy to make her an unlikable character, which I thought that was interesting that the author mentioned that. But anyway, I didn't find her unlikable. There were like definitely moments where there were a couple of red herrings, and then there were a couple of like, don't trust anyone, right? No one is like single faceted. If someone seems too good, too innocent, too sweet, too loyal to be true, they probably are. So not giving anything away there, but all right. So the first one, like I said, was on page 3. Page 3. It's the one that matches the book, and this is what it looks like when you come across a sticky note, and then you will have your gift ready. Usually I'm reading the book or listening to the book. Sometimes I do this on audiobook, and I get to open up all the gifts at the end, but I do like to guess along the way what the gift might be. So this is kind of like, they start with an opening chapter and then go back in time and say 9 days earlier. Nova Davies closed her eyes and thrust her arm into the murky depths. She could feel the chill of the water through her rubber gloves as she groped around, reaching for the body. "Any luck?" her colleague Lauren asked behind her. "There's something here, but I can't get a proper grip on it." "Try and grasp a leg. That might give you something to pull on. Or else the hair." Nova delved further, trying not to think too hard about what else might be down there. Finally, she managed to close her fingers round a foot, and she yanked her arm back hard, freeing the victim with a loud splash. Got her! She stood up from the toilet and turned around triumphantly, a soggy plastic doll in her hand. So she was pulling a doll out of the toilet. So I was like, oh, please don't give us a soggy plastic doll. So I opened this up, and inside, like, functional. So you can see they have it printed, the box is printed, and the items sort of white labeled for Once Upon a Book Club, which is nice. So this is some dish gloves made out of reusable PVC. So I hadn't opened them, but I can always use a new pair of dish gloves. And these are pretty cute in the green with the little, you know, with the little decorations. So dish gloves, I can use those. I didn't mind that. It's a nice functional item. Definitely a literal translation of what's in the book. Not super high value, but not like something that I will never use or that wouldn't be useful to someone else. Then we had page 15, which was very soon. Sometimes when they kind of clump all the gifts together and you don't have as much to look forward to at the end, it's kind of a bummer. So like our last one was on page 177, but the book itself is, let's see, 306 pages. So there was a good 100 and so pages that we didn't have any gifts to look forward to anymore, which I was a little disappointed by, honestly. So I kind of figured we'd have a lot of like bookish gifts in this, and we did have a couple. So one I think is coming up. This is for page 15. Let's see if I can remember. Let's see, what is this one? Okay. There was the sound of scraping chairs as they all rose. Arthur and Ash said goodbye while Phyllis muttered under her breath, and Craddock waddled behind them out of the room. Once they were gone, Nova began tidying. As she straightened up the fallen chair, she found Michael's copy of Where the Crawdads Sing, abandoned under it. In his haste to get away, he must have forgotten it. She opened the book and flicked through the pages, but there was only an ancient-looking leather bookmark with faded leathering saying something about lizards. Nova shut the book and put it in her bag to leave it in the lost property drawer tomorrow. Not that she imagined Michael would ever come back to get it. So he kind of left in a hurry. And I was like, well, did we get another bookmark? But then the size of this made me think this isn't a bookmark. And it also has some heft to it. So I was like, I hope it's not a bookmark. You'll laugh when you see what it is. All right. As I ripped that poor box. It is a bookmark holder, my friends. So yes, it actually says bookmarks is embossed on it. They taped a little cover of Where the Crawdads Sing on there, but it's just like a hard plastic. It says bookmarks on both sides. It's meant to look like a bookmark, like a book. So it's a little bit, I'll show you on top. It's a little bit wider on top, and then surprise, inside we did indeed get a bookmark. So you could definitely use this as a pen holder, a reading glasses holder, definitely a bookmark holder, because we do get so many gosh darn bookmarks. I mean, you could even use it to hide your commemorative stickers if you're not sure what to do with them yet. But yes, you could definitely store all of your bookmarks and pens and things in there. I wasn't super fond of the purple. I thought like just white would have been nicer and worked with like more people's styles. But I thought that was kind of cute to just have a bookmark holder for like on your bookshelf somewhere, or you could use it as a receptacle for a variety of other things. But it was kind of a two-part gift because inside we did get a bookmark. I was kind of hoping for an ancient leather looking one, but instead we got this pink one, which Once Upon a Book Club, in case you couldn't tell by the box itself, does skew on the girly pink side a lot, which is kind of surprising to me. So I don't think, yeah, this is not real leather, but it's cute because it says, "This is where I fell asleep." So I'll just need to flatten that out. I don't know that it's stiff enough to sit in there, but it's cute. I like that it says, "This is where I fell asleep." I'm fine with it not having a lizard on it, but I did kind of just want like a simple brown leather, faux leather bookmark. So yes, I am picky. I know some people who are staunch supporters of Once Upon a Book Club think that I am a little bit hard on this subscription, but I only am because sometimes they knock their curations out of the park, and I will definitely say so when I think that the gifts have a really high value and that all of the interpretations were really strong. This time around, yes, they gave us a bookmark. Yes, they gave us something a little bit novel, haha. But also I was like, it didn't have to be pink and purple, did it? All right, let's see. On page 72 was our next one. So we did have that, we did have the passage with the QR code, which I missed for you. But basically, let's see. Nova let herself in and walked through the silent rooms, each decorated in muted shades of cream and beige, to the huge modern kitchen that ran along the back of the house overlooking the sea. She always felt nervous cooking in here, as she was notoriously a messy chef, and Pamela Pritchard, her future mother-in-law, liked her kitchen pristine, so Nora made herself a simple cheese sandwich, put her favorite Billie Holiday album to play on her phone, and sat down to the glistening marble island to eat. So we got a QR code that took us to some Billie Holiday music. All right, but page 72 is this one, and this is the wrapped gift that we received. Nice wrapping paper indeed, which I do like that when they do this, because sometimes you could use that wrapping paper again, even though it does have the page number printed on it. Let's see. Do I remember? Oh, Arthur, he's the like older guy who likes the romance novels, and Ash is the younger one who likes sci-fi novels. Arthur saw Ash's eyes go wide in panic. He tried to step back, but that only resulted in him knocking into the romance shelf and sending books scattering to the floor. With a groan of embarrassment, Ash bent down to pick them up, flashing the cover of The Viscount Who Loved Me in the process. Arthur saw Dan's eyebrows shoot up in surprise. "Is that Ash? There you are, lad." Before he knew what he was doing, Arthur was striding toward the two boys. "Have you got that book for me yet?" So he's trying to save him the embarrassment of having a Julia Quinn Bridgerton book in his hands, because there's another boy that's there, and he doesn't want to be embarrassed and have it look like he's reading the Bridgerton books. So inside, which we got, and you know, Once Upon a Book Club did a whole Bridgerton like limited edition box series, which I actually got and have reviewed. There is a special playlist for it here on my channel. But we got this box, and it says The Viscount Who Loved Tea. So it is a nice box. I have to figure out how to open it up, but it's got like a nice magnetic closure. If you wanted to put this on your shelf in your kitchen, you absolutely could. It's fashioned to look like a book. So it is 12 English breakfast tea bags. But nice little storage box. It's kind of like a cigar box. It's not like the hardest plastic in the world, but it will last for a while. Tea, I usually feel like, is a very inexpensive edible item to include in any box, whether it's a lifestyle box or a book box. It's very common in book boxes. Not a super high value, but also not a terrible thing. And this is a good example of where they, instead of giving us a copy of the book, for example, they gave us, you know, some tea, which is something that's nice because it's not going to take up a lot of space in your home. Although the box itself, I will probably wind up tossing eventually. But it's funny that they give you the instructions for how to make tea, but that does go along with the setting of the book as well, because it's very English, and of course people are going to have tea. And then our final gift, it came on page 177. Like I said, still quite a ways off from the end of the book, but you already saw it. It is a paper gift, so not going to be an incredibly high value in my opinion. Sometimes when the passage in question comes to the bottom of the page, there's a little smaller sticky note. So let's see. Nova waited for Phyllis to step outside too, but there was no sign of the woman. She turned around to see her standing by the stairs, rummaging through a box on the floor. "What are you doing?" "Is this the stuff you got in that charity shop last week?" "Yes, why?" Phyllis didn't answer. She was holding the framed painting Nova had bought, the one of a pretty cottage against an azure blue sea. Phyllis was staring at the painting through narrow, critical eyes. "Come on, we should head to the bus stop," Arthur called from outside. So they mention a particular painting, and that it's framed. We can tell right here that this is not framed. I always think when they want to do a framed art piece, what they should do, in my opinion, is include a frame with, then it doesn't have to be a super high quality picture inside, but if they gave us a 5x7 frame, we could use it as a picture frame for our photos, or we could use it to display the quote cards as we're reading. So I would have preferred a frame instead of this print, which just has a frame on the edges. So even if I wanted to frame this image, now it's got a frame within a frame. So even though I know they were trying to include the frame, I was like, that doesn't really work. And then it is actually a Monet painting, which that doesn't really go along with what's the painting in the book. Like, it actually has something to do with the plot. It's also not really the kind of thing that Nova would pick up. She's like got a little bit of a funky style to her in terms of the things that she would pick up at thrift shops, clothing wise and painting wise. So it wouldn't be like a Monet print. And then I thought it was weird that they actually printed the frame on it. So, you know, on the back they had to say that it was public domain to do that. But it was a weird choice to me to just give us some cardstock, not like great quality, and then to include the frame on it instead of just giving us like, I don't know, an AI image, for example, that was in an actual frame that we could use. And then I would have felt like we got a little bit more value in the box. So we got the dish gloves, we got the bookmark holder and faux leather bookmark. We got the Viscount Who Loved Tea and 20 tea sachets inside. And then we got this, which to me is a little bit of a throwaway, honestly. And I didn't think it was like the best interpretation of the item that was being described in the book. Overall, not bad, nothing like terrible, but sometimes, like I said, they really do an awesome job, and there's like useful items, beautiful, unique items that you can use in your daily life, and that wasn't really the case except with the dish gloves this time around for me. But the book is super cute. Definitely give it a read, and I will see you all very soon in my next unboxing. Don't forget, I will leave that link in that discount code if you want to check out Once Upon a Book Club.